We're going to go ahead and call the commission to order. All the commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Oliver. I presume he'll be here shortly. If you would please stand as Commissioner Timmons will lead us in our pledge and invocation.
Bow our heads, please. Father in heaven, once again we come thanking you for this day. We thank you for this hour, and we thank you for these commissioners and that has decided to come and put themselves here in Marshall, Texas, and debate on Marshall's whether we should do a say and be good to each other. And Lord, we ask that you would just continue to bless each and every one of us. Not only the commission, Lord, we ask that you would bless our city workers, bless the ones, Father, who have put themselves in harm's way, our first responders. Lord, we ask that you would just continue to bless each and every one of us. And Lord, we ask that you would keep your loving arms of protection all around us. These and other blessings we ask in your Son Jesus for his sake. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Mayor, before we start with the public presentations, and I know this is out of order, we had a former commissioner pass away this week, and I think we ought to take a few seconds in silence to honor that commissioner, Mr. Milton Williams.
Okay, thank you. What I want to do is we'll do the public presentations and get the consent agenda out of the way, and then we've got a couple of proclamations we could probably get out of the way quickly, and then we've got an executive session. I'd like to take that up after the proclamation so that Mr. Searle can be on his way. So we'll go ahead and open up the public presentations at this time. If there's anybody here who wishes to address the commission about any subject matter, you may do so at this time by coming forward and stating your name, address at the podium here. If you do not wish to give your address over the television, you may give it to Ms. Agner in writing, and she'll include it in the minutes. Just by way of reminder, we're not allowed to discuss anything with you during the public presentations, with the exception of answering questions as to factor policy, and that's because the Open Meetings Act does not allow us to discuss anything that has not been posted as a specific item to be discussed on the agenda. But if you have something that's worthy of further discussion, we'll be happy to post it on an agenda at a future date so that it can be discussed at length with you at that time. So anybody who wishes to come forward, you may do so at this time. Okay, nobody coming forward, then we'll close the public presentations. Next item is items we withdrawn from the consent agenda. I don't believe we have any, unless somebody asks for it. We only have one item on the consent agenda, and that's the minutes. So can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion.
I thought I heard.
No. Commissioner Boersma has moved to approve. So
And I was seconded.
All right. So all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No abstentions, so the consent agenda has been approved. We have a couple of proclamations to take up at this time. The first one is approval of a proclamation designating the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2014 as National Public Works Week in the city of Marshall, Texas. And so this proclamation, it's pretty lengthy. I won't read it all into the record, but essentially states what I just said. It declares this week, and we recognize it as National Public Works Week of our public works employees. Mr. Hughes, I think you wanted to say something. And
well, once again, this is one time a year we get a chance to recognize our public works and water utilities, and not only us, but Parks and Rec and inspections.
I don't think that mic is on.
Other divisions also that are in a support status, and actually you're invited Wednesday the 21st at the maintenance garage behind the water plant for our luncheon, as we always invite you. But I do have 3 employees here tonight. If they would come,
Yeah, I'll come.
you'd come up here and so we can get a picture, I think,
Sure.
like we did last year. But we have here tonight Chris Miles, Kirvin Crawford, and then Jamie McClendon. They all 3 do have nicknames, but I'm just not going to tell you what they are tonight. but I want to get pictures. So. All right. Don't get a little closer. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Got Chris's head on. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have the next one is a presentation of a proclamation designating May 11th through 17th, 2014 as Police Week in Marshall, Texas, and further designating that May 15th, 2014 be observed as Peace Officers Memorial Day in Marshall, Texas. Chief Benoit.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. We do wish to bring this to the attention of the public, as we do each year. Unfortunately, the observation we make is to the fallen officers, male and female, that have given the ultimate sacrifice of giving their life to the citizens of the state of Texas and across the nation. And it's taking out of our day and of our time to give the honor they deserve for the sacrifice that they have given to the citizens that they serve. And we hope that we will have a large amount of people coming to our convention center on the 14th. We are going to hold ours on the 14th. We hold it on Wednesday every year, so we chose not to change that. So next Wednesday on the 14th at noon, we will hold our services. And because of inclement weather issues in the past, we've always had to go back and forth between the square and the convention center. We chose just to hold it at the one location, and also to bring attention to the convention center again. So we hope that you can be there. And the News Messenger has also given us publication on that. And we hope that we will get the news out to the general media so they can also be in attendance. And we thank you for the proclamation.
You want this?
I did speak with the lieutenant on shift, but they are quite busy right now, so I have my captain here with me. Well, actually, Bessie's here now. Okay, good. you very much.
Okay. All right, at this time, why don't we take out of order and move on to our executive session, if that's agreeable to everybody? I don't think we need to take a vote to move it, unless everybody wants that. But if we could get a motion to enter into executive session.
Motion to enter into executive session.
Okay. Commissioner Moon has moved we enter into executive session, seconded by Commissioner Timmons. Is there any discussion? There is none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we will reconvene down here in just a few minutes after we finish with our executive session. Excuse me. That's all right.
Move to reconvene.
Okay, we have a motion to reconvene, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Marshall.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, there is none. We're back in open session now, and let's see if I can get to the right spot on this page. Okay. Item 6A is our next item. Consider approval of a resolution authorizing the appeal of the Texas Public Utility Commission's March 6, 2014 order on rehearing approving a rate increase for Southwestern Electric Power Company requiring the reimbursement of municipal rate case expenses, authorizing participation in the coalition of similarly situated cities, authorizing participation in the appeals, authorizing the retention of special counsel, finding that the meeting complies with the Open Meetings Act, making other findings and provisions related to the subject, and declaring an effective date. Mr. Snyder, you want to go over this for him, please?
In your packet, you have a information sheet, and you also have a resolution that was provided to us by our card representatives through the law firm of Herrera and Boyle. And CARD is Cities Advocating Reasonable Deregulation. We are a member city of that, and they are recommending that we appeal a rate increase for SWEPCO. But to do this, we also have to pass a resolution and then send it to them, and I'll have to get it to them first thing in the morning because May 10th is the last day. If you want me to, I can give you a quick synopsis of what has transpired and why we are requesting that we participate in this appeal. But again, you do have it in your agenda information sheet, but I will, if you want me to, do a quick overview of it.
Does anybody have any questions?
I've read it.
Pardon?
I've read it.
Everybody's satisfied? Okay. Then, if there's no questions, do we have a motion with regard to this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Timmons to approve item 6A, seconded by Commissioner Marshall, I believe. No, Commissioner Flowers. Okay, sorry. I'm not hearing this right tonight. Okay, Commissioner Flowers. Is there any discussion of the motion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Next item is 7A, consider approval of request to award a bid to Fish and Steel Equipment of Marshall, Texas for purchase of a large tractor with front-end bucket attachment at a cost of $33,258.61. Ms. Agner, is there anything you wish to discuss on this?
I've summarized the bids that we received. We received 4, 2 were no bids. We received a bid from Bagley Tractor out of Longview for $39,845.84, and a bid from Fish and Steel Equipment of Marshall for $33,258.61, and we are recommending that the city award the bid to Fish and Steel of Marshall as the low bidder.
Do we have any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Fish and Steel Equipment of Marshall for the bid.
Okay, Commissioner Moon moves to approve item 7A, seconded by Commissioner Timmons. Is there any discussion of the motion? There being no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimous. Next item, 7B, consider approval of a request to award a bid to Chastang Ford of Houston, Texas for the purchase of two 2-ton dump trucks with 6-yard beds at a total cost of $111,590. Ms. Agner.
Yes, we received 2 bid proposals for the 2-ton dump trucks. JC, I would need you to address that. Natural.
Okay.
Propane.
Yeah, natural gas vehicles.
We didn't consider it because of the cost, the initial cost going in. I know we haven't used any. I know some school systems use them on their buses. But to be honest with you, no, sir, we didn't.
Both of these items that were bid were approved as part of the budget process. We had the cost in there, the range, and they were approved when the 2014 budget was approved.
Mr. Hughes, Did we talk to Superior Ford, or do they not sell dump trucks here at the local Ford dealer?
The local dealer, in fact, we hand-delivered packages to those dealers, knowing full well they cannot bid these larger trucks.
Okay.
2 ton above, there's a delineation between the large truck dealers and the smaller truck dealers, and that's the reason you won't see big, huge trucks on the local lots. But as a courtesy, we still drop them by the Dodge place, and Chevrolet, and Ford to make sure, because they might tell someone else that might get back with us, but they can't bid on these. So it's really the Freightliners and the big Ford dealers.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion with regard to item 7B?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Marshall moves to approve item 7B, seconded by Commissioner Moon. Is there any discussion of the motion? There is none. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimous. Next item is consider approval of agreements with the Boys and Girls Club of the Big Pines for use of 2012 and 2013 Community Development Block Grant funds. We've got a new planning director here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is really just a housekeeping issue. We've received a reimbursement request from the Boys and Girls Club just recently, and it was determined that we do not have signed contracts for reimbursement as a requirement of HUD. So what we're doing is we're just putting this on your agenda for approval tonight. Both these contracts are for $5,000, as approved in the annual action plan for both years.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Marshall to approve, seconded by Commissioner Moon. Is there any discussion of the motion?
Yes, I see 2 attachments down here. Did we give them I guess I'm questioning, is it just one $5,000 that we are doing, or?
No, it's 2.
It's
It's
2.
one for 2012 and one for 2013.
Okay, that we missed last time?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Okay, any other discussion of the motion? There being no discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstention? Motion carries unanimous. Next item is consider an act on the recommendation to approve an extension of the short-term treated water supply contract with North Americas, Inc. for a period of commencing May 1st, 2014, and terminating no later than May 31st, 2014, with the current water rate structure. Mr. Hughes, is there anything you wish to add, or does anybody have any question about this, or can we just go with a motion?
It's the same extension we've done the first 4 months. So.
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Marshall made a motion to approve item 7D, seconded by Commissioner Moon. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimous. Next item is consider and act on the recommendation to approve staff proposed 2014 street improvement program and award a work order for professional services for engineering and construction inspection. Mr. Hughes.
Mayor and City Commission, in your packet, you do have, of course, the memo outlining some $1.473 million worth of expenditures on this year's street program. It does not include any CDBG funds this year as far as the revenue or expense. It does not include any city, county, interlocal agreement funds or expense. It does include a $25,000 contribution from oil and gas firms located along one of the roads, actually Cox Road. It also includes $482,525 in anticipated expenditures under the street maintenance tax program. I do want to point out that our preliminary numbers at the end of 2013, it was apparent, and these were change orders the City Commissioner approved, that we were going to overrun the street tax money, but it's a rolling number. We were going to cover it with general funds. As it turned out, our sales tax came in higher, and we were not required to cover the excess with general fund money, so we were looking at ending the the year with a surplus of about $34,000. As it turned out, since the sales tax increased revenue covered the shortfall, we ended the year with approximately $63,807. Our suggestion at this time, based on the estimates we have, and they are estimates, let's go ahead and get the bids back in, get some hard numbers. Right now, we have our estimates, and then we can make decisions what you want to do after that as far as that $63,000, whether it's even necessary or not. So that's our recommendation. Our recommendation also does include an engineering contract with Hayes Engineering in the amount of $100,000. Broke this down, some $72,000 or 5.4% is related to construction or engineering activities. $28,000, some 2.1% is related to construction inspection. We don't have the time or staff to actually watch the construction on a daily basis to make sure it's done properly. All total is $100,000, or approximately 7.5% of the actual construction portion of the program this year, about $1.3 million. We're also looking at, we think it's about time to go out this year, later this year, before the end of the year, and go out for RFQs for engineers, not just engineers, but everything we use. Engineers for streets, water, sewer. It's just been a few years, and I think it's about time. Now, you don't hire engineers based on cost, but you need to do it every few years, and I think it's about time. So I just want to let y'all know that we're recommending and we're going to move forward with RFQs later this year. You can look at the spreadsheets. There's a lot of paperwork. I believe we supplied you some large maps, which is probably very cumbersome for you to deal with. There's a lot of detail on the spreadsheet, some 6 pages, but the summary, we made the first page a summary of all the streets we're proposing, and the type of work we're proposing for this year. But once again, some 1.473308 in anticipated expenditures for this year's program.
Do we have any questions? Yes, sir. No?
Move for approval.
We have a motion by Commissioner Marshall to approve item 7E, seconded by Commissioner Moon. Is there any discussion of the motion? Okay, there being no discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions?
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item is report on the roof and HVAC needs for the City of Marshall facilities. Mr. Redmond, are you taking this one up? Or?
This is in response to Commissioner Boersman's request for the condition of our roofs and air conditioner units in the city. I've given you last week and this week, last meeting and this meeting, I'll give you kind of a overall condition of these roofs and these air conditioners. And if you've had time to look at that, you know that our state of affairs are pretty bad when it comes to those two. We have one thing we've done in the last few years is we did put in a roof line item and a air conditioner line item. There's a formula that I've kind of put up together, and it works out pretty good about how many units we'll lose a year according to the age of the unit and things like that. This year, we're looking to lose about 15 units. And that goes anything from a 5-ton unit up to the bigger units at the Civic Center. We're going to lose probably 2 of those this year. And I'm talking about compressors or major failures. We have to watch how we do that out there because, as you know, here at City Hall, we spent tons of money on a unit, an older unit here, and then when we got ready to buy the new one, it cost us around $50,000. So you can spend a whole lot of money real fast on rooftop units. So it's just something I think we do need to address in budget. As far as roofs go, you know that the ones that that are graded the worst. It's on your sheet. We have some roofs that are absolutely out of shape, and we do need to get repaired quickly. And then we have some, of course, that we don't have to worry too much about. So, Commissioner Boersma, is there anything else you'd like to know?
Well, I appreciate your preparing this information for us. You've given us a priority schedule of the roofs, focusing on the roofs initially here. I wanted to have this discussion in addition to having the information, because I feel like we're in a situation where we probably need to talk about going ahead and getting some work done on some of these roofs just to preserve the buildings and before it continues to worsen and become more expensive than it'll be if we're able to fix it now or in the near term.
This year, I think we only put $30,000 in for roofs, and we're working on that pretty hard already. I would say that if we do anything this year, if we find ourselves in a situation where we do have the money to do anything, we have a couple of them that are really hurting, and that'd be the Wiseman Center is one. We're starting to see structural failure there. The Perkins Building would be another, and that's been kind of I don't know which way we want to go with that one yet. It does need to be repaired. It has dilapidated pretty bad. This roof in this building we're sitting in and the annex are both in really bad shape.
What about the convention center? I've heard complaints about it's leaking on the stage during performances and so forth.
That's one that we need to address. We can address it in 2 stages if we want to. We did some work on it. I think it was in 2008. Is that right? 2008 when we redid part of the Civic Center.
I
2007
think it
or
was
8.
probably 2006 or so.
Right in there, and that part of the Civic Center, which would be Caddo Hall, we could probably get away with waiting on it. However, over the stage, Commissioner Flowers, you're exactly right. We do need to do some major repairs there, and we may want to do those in conjunction with some air conditioner replacement. When we do, I'd like for us to look at going to a slope-type roof on those areas instead of the roofs we have now.
Well, the buildings you've listed are some of the more expensive ones on our schedule. My impression is we're in a situation where we just need to seriously deliberate how we can get these repaired and fixed.
And then budget
unfortunately,
out.
we're probably going to need to prioritize even beyond the buildings that have been classified as most urgent, because I've scheduled these out, and I think that adding them all up, that's a pretty significant number.
It is. In budget, it'd be a time to address it, but it's going to, now this year, one thing that we are going to do that we hadn't done in past years this year, or I'm going to do, is come back to you when your air conditioner money is depleted, which it will deplete probably in June, and we'll need to do something then, because I just don't want to run over it, and just keep running over it as we have in past years. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I think y'all need to be aware.
So what do you recommend our path forward would be here? Do we want to pick the most urgent 2 or 3 or the most urgent situations and
we have to look
at getting a request for proposal
because
prepared?
of money? I think that the Civic Center would be probably Civic Center and Wiseman's would be the number 1 roofs.
Okay.
And then, of course, we need to make a decision on the Perkins Building, and then the annex would probably come right after that.
Well,
Budget is June. We will start budget process in June. Is that right? Just a question.
Jack, are we thinking about putting on slope roofs rather than flat roofs?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I mentioned. We're looking at a slope roof type. John's probably familiar with it. That where you raise your rooftop units up and you sleeve them down so you can put a slope roof in and they last much longer, and plus they carry a significant warranty of 30 years on those roofs.
How much is it, what is the difference in the price of them?
It's
Do you know?
significantly different. It's, I mean, it's
Is it twice as
substantially.
much?
Sir?
Is it twice as much?
Easily twice as much. But flat roofs, it just hadn't worked for us very well in East Texas.
I don't know anybody that it has worked for. I really don't.
Let me say this, when they used to let us use a lot of coal tar, they used to work a lot better. Now, environmentally, we're kind of restricted, so the flat roofs don't work too well anymore.
You're right.
Well, of the two buildings that you feel are most pressing, is there any reason why we shouldn't start to develop an RFP to get them repaired, and then maybe even the RFP to get the sloped roof that you were describing, so we can get those numbers pinned down?
Well, we're already talking to some people that do this. There's several companies that actually do this very thing, that put the slope roofs in areas like Convention Center, and we're already talking to some of those companies now. We're already, not negotiating, but getting information from them, so we'll have an opportunity when we do get time to do it, to do an RFP, to have a good set of specs to go from.
Well, obviously it's up to what the commission feels we need to do, but I understand the situation at the convention center in particular is such that we need to go ahead and start figuring out how we can get it fixed.
The biggest problem with the convention center, is, and one thing we need to all bear in mind is our worst leaks are over our stage area, and the stage floor is extremely expensive, and if we have to replace that, it would be a shame to be replacing that over a maintenance issue.
Well, I guess where I'm going with it is that if we move forward, what we're doing is we're going to be taking an estimate, a good estimate, I will
Yes, sir.
acknowledge, and that'll be transitioning to a hard number that the commission can evaluate and discuss, and by the way, by the time all that shakes out, it might be as we begin our budget deliberations. But we might as well go ahead and get started on that work is what I'm recommending.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
When we're talking about the roof to the convention center, can any hot funds be used in that?
I wouldn't be the one to answer that. I'd let Ms. Agner answer that one.
I think they can be, but whether we've got a way to
Where we
allocate
have
them to it, yeah. They're already committed to other things, most of it.
Can we use hot funds to repair that?
Well, it's just a question. I'm not saying that maybe we should consider, but could hot funds be used for the convention center? That's the only thing I was asking. Any portion of it.
You could, basically the direction that we have been given the past years has been to, if anything, put more of a burden on general fund as far as operations. So, we used to pay utilities at the convention center and everything out of hot funds. We no longer do that. So
Yeah, I understand.
There could be some ways that we could accomplish that by restructuring some things. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, no other questions? We'll move on to report on the number of merit raises that have been given since the adoption of the 2014 budget. Mr. Snyder.
This was put on the agenda at the request of Commissioner Timmons, and the answer to that question is 1.
Yes, sir, thank you. And I got my answer as to who received the merit raise and why they received the merit raise, and I think that the merit raise is a raise that can be given without the consent of the commission. And I think we put a little bit of more pressure, more work on one of our departments, and our new interim chief had requested a merit raise, and that's the reason why. So I just was wondering if any more had been given, but just that one. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, the next item is a discussion of the procedure to follow for a city commissioner to lodge a complaint when a request to place an item on the agenda is not done. That's Commissioner Timmons' request. Is there any?
And I would need Todd to speak on that one, please.
I don't have anything. There's not any rules regarding how y'all set the agenda. There's none ever been adopted. But y'all, it is the commission's job to decide, the agenda and what you're going to meet on. So I guess it would need to be a complaint or something would need to be voiced to the commission. But there's no rules, nothing by code or charter regarding the agenda. Some cities do adopt rules about that, but this city has not done that. So I guess as far as it would be up to the commission to decide how they want to handle a complaint about that or something.
Okay, now, I'm not asking about a complaint. It's got to be, every commission has the same authority. Am I correct in saying that? Sitting up here, every commissioner has the same authority. And, okay, so only thing I'm asking is when a commissioner requests for something to be put on the commission, on the agenda as an item, whether it be an action item or discussion item, and sometimes a commissioner in the past had to ask 3, 4, maybe 5 times before it made it to the agenda. And the only thing I'm asking, okay, why wouldn't it if a commissioner asked for it to be on? And I don't think any other commissioner would have to answer that question because we don't ask the commission permission to put something on the agenda. We ask the person that we're supposed to ask, and we're supposed to go to the city manager. And so
I guess what I'm saying is, if you're unhappy with the way the agenda is being prepared, then it's up to the commission to take action to prevent that from happening. It's the city commission that controls the agenda. So, but there's no rules. We don't have any rules. I mean, like I said, some cities have different rules about cutoff dates of when you can request, how many, it takes 2 commissioners to get something on the agenda. The elected mayor or something can put things on their own, or there's different rules that some cities set up. Our city has none. I mean, there's nothing in there. So there's not a rule that says, ask once and it should be put on. So what I'm saying is it's up to the commission to police. If it's not getting done, then if the city manager's not doing what you're asking, then it's y'all hire and fire him. So that the city commission deals with that. I mean that, and then secondly, it would be up to the commission to decide if y'all wanted to come up with a written policy as to how it could be done. Like I said, some cities set up time frames of cutoff dates. Some have said 3 commissioners requesting it, or some just 1 commissioner. I don't know if y'all want to go that route, but that would be a possibility. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to be flippant about it, but it is the commission that decides how to govern that, and any problems that have occurred then need to be addressed by the body.
We've always had an informal policy as long as I've been on the commission. This time, this most recent term, and then prior to this, and my observation about prior to that is that any commissioner that wished to have an agenda item placed on the agenda, they asked the city manager to put it on there, and they always accommodated them unless there was the time frame of asking it to be put on there was too short, or they needed additional time to prepare themselves and get the information and data on there. So I'm not really aware of there being a real problem of things being requested and not being placed on the agenda. But maybe I don't understand. Maybe there's more to it. Is anybody having a problem?
let-
But it was straightened out. I saw that in the packet we received
Friday.
prior to, that everything that was going to be on the agenda was going to be in that packet. But I come to find out it may or may not be. But it will be in the packet that comes out. Because I called making sure to see why something wasn't there. And I was told that it would be on the Tuesday packet and the following agenda. So, I was okay with that the way it happened.
Yeah. Three things that come to mind. I get a packet, a preliminary packet, you can request it, and I get it late Friday. If I ask for something to be on the agenda, it's not on there, I call Monday till, how long do we have to call and say, that mine wasn't on the agenda, until Monday at lunch or Monday at 1, somewhere in there?
Preferably by lunch. Now, we send the packets out on Tuesday afternoon, so
Yeah.
we don't want to have to make adjustments on Tuesday, but we have. But
Right.
normally, we like to have it by
Monday at lunch.
noon Monday, so we can put it together for all of y'all.
And two other things, Commissioner Timmons, that have happened to me. I've put something on the agenda, and then I've talked to Buzz or Lisa or whoever, and I got my question answered, so I pulled it off the agenda. So if somebody else also wanted it on the agenda, I may have pulled it because I got my question answered because I said it first, I thought. The third thing is I've put something on the agenda, and Lisa, it's a financial number or something, and Lisa says, well, we won't get that number till about 2 more weeks, so it goes on to the next agenda. But I've never had a problem of getting it on the agenda when the information was available.
Right.
And do you get an early packet?
But you got to get it in time to get it posted by 5
Right.
o'clock on the Monday. It has to be
Right.
posted
That's
on Monday by
right.
5. So you
That's-
can't,
that's right.
So you can't change it on Tuesday. It's got to
Right,
be done by Monday.
I
because
agree.
the question has come up, well, something was not on the agenda, so the question has come up here before. Okay, that's just like, we'll go back to item G. I got my question answered last week. I was not looking for it to be on here today because I got my question answered. And it was something that I think Buzz, you called me.
I did.
And gave me the answer. And I thanked him. I said, well, that answers my question. But I was concerned of the things, whenever something that did not get put on, maybe need a reminder or something.
Well, obviously, I misunderstood that you wanted it taken off. I knew I answered your question, but I thought
Right.
you still wanted it on there.
But that's okay. And I'm not saying that you are the person. The reason why this is on this agenda today, the discussion is here today. But
I can assure you, if you ask me to put it on there, I'll put it on there. But there are times when, if I'm a little concerned about the wording or whether or not it's legal, I'm going to consult our attorney to make sure that I'm not doing something that would put us in harm's way.
okay,
So,
that's it.
Anything else with regard to this item?
Yeah, one other thing. Most of the things that Commissioner Timmons had requested to be put on the agenda, I thought were a good idea. So if he gets his question answered, like he did, I'd prefer for the thing to either stay on the agenda or everybody be provided that answer. It doesn't have to stay on the agenda because these meetings last too long already, but everybody, if you email him back, is this what you were asking? And he says, yeah, take it off the agenda. Could we get it emailed to all of us, the
Yeah.
answer to a agenda question?
I can. In this situation, he had asked about it. I called him to make sure what he was wanting, to make sure I had it right.
And
And
there was
we
only
discussed
one.
it, and he was satisfied with that, but I just thought that he still wanted it on there, so that's why it wasn't pulled off.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Then the next item is request for future agenda items. Does anybody have any? Now's your chance. We're timing it for the rain to pick up, it sounds like, too. Okay, the next item is adjournment, so We have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Moon, seconded by Commissioner Timmons, and the rain is just now starting to hit.
Do we need to set a special commission meeting? Do we need to set that in, set the time?
We'll set it for Wednesday of next week at 5 o'clock, 5 or 6. What do y'all prefer? Is 5 too early for anybody? Is 5 o'clock good? Okay, we'll have it at 5 o'clock. Okay. There being no discussion of the motion, all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Adjourned.